Look into my eyes. Do you see fear? You come at me with sword and spear, but I come in the name of the God of Israel. Yes! Right between the eyes! Did you see that? Anyone? Of course not. Okay then, one more time. Tally, not now! I'm trying to protect us from this Philistine. Whoa! No, not that way! Come on! Back to your mom. Right, Philistine. Oh, wait! Right between the eyes. Oh, of course. That one you saw. Tally! Tally, no! I'm coming, girl! Whoa, easy! Shira! I will bring her home safely. Tally, wait, no! There you go. I'm almost there. Okay. Oh! Tally, stop! No! That doesn't help. That does. Stop. Thank you. 할래니 נפשי ישובב ינחני במגע לצדק למען שמו.
What if there were a Bible movie that was as powerful as The Prince of Egypt and as fun as Tangled? That's about as likely to happen as David beating Goliath. See what I did there? Well, it's happening. We are making an epic David and Goliath animated film. David will be an animated feature film that shows the power of the David story with the humor, music, and adventure of your favorite animated movie. And by expressing your interest in investing, you can help bring David to life with the production quality of a classic animated film while revealing God through one of the Bible's most powerful stories.
Did you see that? Anyone?
A group of filmmakers in South Africa called Sunrise Animation Studios has been carefully assembling the right team to make David. This David project has already generated $19 million in investments and inspired some of the world's leading animation film professionals to leave major Hollywood studios and be a part of this story. The Sunrise team includes senior contributors to movies like Moana, Monsters, Inc., Soul, and Big Hero 6. As well as Grammy Award-winning composers. Basically, David is the answer to the question, what if the best Bible stories were told by the world's best animators and musicians? Click the link to express your interest today. David tells the story of a young shepherd who gains fame as a musician and a warrior for the king.
I'm trying to protect us from this Philistine.
He shows the viewer what it truly means to be a man after God's own heart. David is the original underdog that has gone on to inspire the greatest underdog stories of all time. Don't believe me? Just re-watch Harry Potter and Star Wars. Instead of using magic or the Force to defeat giant villains, David uses the power of God to overcome a literal Goliath. And he reminds each of us that we're the underdog of our own stories. And through God, all things are possible. David's story has never been told on a cinematic level. And to accomplish that, you need a combination of a good budget and good storytellers. The faith community has the right storytellers, but most independent Bible films look like independent Bible films. But with your investments, combined with the storytelling prowess of Sunrise Animation Studios, we are finally telling David's story in a way that belongs on the silver screen. And, did I mention, it's a musical? So beautiful. The creation of David the movie is a Goliath-sized story. Sunrise knew that in order for a small film studio to make an epic movie on par with the big boys, they'd have to nail it between the eyes, pun intended. And after all these years, they've assembled the right team to go the distance. All that's missing is you. Click the link to watch a small teaser we made for David. David will be distributed by Angel Studios, the same film studio behind the smash hit success The Chosen, a TV show about Jesus that has over 300 million views and has generated over $100 million in revenue. Sunrise Animation Studios created Jungle Beat, an animated brand that has a feature movie on Netflix with a sequel in production and gets 140 million monthly views on YouTube. If they can do that with a monkey and an elephant, imagine what they can do with one of the most iconic figures of all time. When you express interest in investing in the animated film David, you're not just helping to create an epic animated adventure based on one of the most popular books of all time. You're creating a movie in one of the most successful categories of film. The Prince of Egypt made $218 million in revenue at the box office, plus 2 decades of DVD, TV, and streaming sales. And like The Prince of Egypt, David also has powerful songs and breathtaking animation. Plus, one thing The Prince of Egypt doesn't have, this baby lamb. You do the math. And aside from the potential financial return, bringing such an important story to life can be incredibly rewarding.
Hi there, my name is Phil Cunningham, and I was inspired by this character and thought if we could tell an animated feature film around the life of David, it would inspire people to take on the giants in their life and to live bigger, braver, bolder lives.
David has the chance to be the next big movie that every kid, parent, and Pixar fan will fall in love with. Click the link to express interest in investing today.
Hello. Welcome, David
Hello, everybody.
fans. And yeah, we would like to also welcome Jason Halbert and Rhonda Woodrome fans. We are so excited, and we see a hello from Mexico as well. Thank you. Brent and I are your hosts this evening. My name is Rita. I'm one of the producers of David, and Brent is one of the directors of the film.
I'm Brent, one of the directors, yeah.
I'm just going to tease the lineup quickly. We've got such an exciting session for you guys. So Brent is going to give us his vision for the music in the film as a start. And then we've got two very, very special guests who we are absolutely delighted to be on this journey with. And that's Jason Halbert, our executive music producer, and Rhonda Woodrome, our music supervisor. So they are going to join us tonight. We'll have a bit of fun and some interesting conversations with them a little bit later. But so basically tonight we're gauging interest to crowdfund the rest of our production budget. You saw a bit about it earlier. And we are, super, super excited. Please go to angel.com/David to express interest. So today we're going to talk about the direction of the music in the David movie. And please comment. We love to see your comments on the screen. Thank you, Charles. I see Charles has just pledged from Michigan. It would be amazing to see your likes, your shares, your comments on this post. That would be amazing. So as we kick off, I'd love Brent to take a few minutes and just share his vision for the music in David.
Cool, thank you. It's wonderful to be talking to everyone. And I must say, just sort of sitting, whenever we're doing a live stream, we sit and we watch all the intros, and I always get re-inspired when I see that short animation that we did, and then even the sort of the lady telling us about the project. It's like, oh my goodness, I just feel so privileged to be a part of it. So I get to tell you a little bit about where we are and a little bit about our process now. And I'm so excited by tonight's live stream and the guests that we have, because music is so at the heart of this movie, and rightfully so, because music was so key and central to who David was as a person. He describes himself as Israel's singer of songs. He was a king, he was a warrior, but the thing that he spoke of himself as is a singer. And it is also the thing that first sort of burst him on the scene, so to speak. After the anointing, he was brought before Saul because Saul was tormented by spirits, and David came and played music for him, and that's what alleviated his spirits and what brought David into his service. So music is such a key part of the story, and what doubly excites me about it, there's a lot of animated movies that have musical numbers in them, but there aren't often story reasons that there's music playing. Someone's walking down the street and they'll just burst into song, or they're cleaning and it's like they'll sing about their chores. But that's not what happens in real life. But the thing with our story is David actually sings. He's actually he sings, and we know that he was clearly a very successful singer. One, he obviously had the Spirit of God flowing through him, that he was able to move Saul so much. But two, the fact that he wrote more than half the Psalms is evidence just to the fact of how much music was a part of his life, and we're really wanting that to come across in the movie. And so with that being the case, it's not something that we're doing as an afterthought. We have been looking for. We've got a recruitment philosophy here at Sunrise that we look for the right, and that means that we're looking for the right people in terms of talent and experience, but also the right people in terms of heart and spirit and attitude, because the right person with the wrong flavor for us will sort of derail us. But the two people we're going to introduce you to shortly are the right people. And we're just so thrilled to have them on the team. And before we bring them on, I'm going to just mention one more thing just about the overall way that we're approaching this. Is when you create the visuals for an animated movie, it's very expensive and takes a long time to make the finished picture. So the concept art is where that happens. And the production designer that we had on board, John Burton, along with Linton Nevengood and a number of amazing artists, worked for a good year creating a load of paintings that ultimately we whittled down and found our look of film. And those are what we hold up to be the visual vision for the movie. And what we've realized is that we need to do the same thing for the sound of film. As much time, effort, and energy and research needs to go into the music because we want it to have an authenticity to it. We want it to have emotion and an anointing to it. And those things don't just happen. And so we are presently, the philosophy is we are exploring what is our sound of film, and maybe stealing Jason's thunder, because it was him that sort of pointed out to us the fact that we needed that, which just proves that we had the right person. And I think Reed's now's a really good time to sort of introduce them properly and then bring them in the conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you so much,
And
Brent.
also
So,
to say,
guys, it is,
we're just
yes.
seeing those pledges coming in the corner. And thank you so much for that. I just saw a $500 pledge. I missed the name, but thank you so much for those that are happening. And please continue to cross-post this and comment and share, and go to angel.com/studio if you want to pledge interest in the project.
Amazing. Thanks, Brent. Guys, it is our greatest pleasure to introduce Jason and Rhonda. So Jason Halbert is our executive music producer on the project, and he is the music director for Kelly Clarkson and has been for 20 years. He is a multiple Grammy award-winning producer, a multiple Emmy award-winning producer, an ASCAP and CSAC award winner. He's written and produced multiple #1 radio hits. And most importantly to me, he is our executive music producer. Jason, we are so thrilled to have you. And sitting next to him, the very beautiful Rhonda Woodrome. She is Jason's wife, actually, as well, and manager, too. She is the music supervisor on David. Rhonda has worked in live touring, artist development, sync licensing for film and TV for a decade. She's the mother of 2, and she comes from 5 generations of musicians and singers, which is incredible. So Rhonda, I can kick off with you because I hear there's an interesting story about your grandmother getting involved in you and Jason's relationship. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. So Jason and I have known each other our whole lives. We grew up in church together and started dating at the beginning of high school. And I broke Jason's heart, and I broke up with him for a small season of life. And it was just before Christmas, and my family always had these magnificent Christmas sing-alongs, and we would invite everyone. The house was just packed, and my grandmother was a musician, a piano player, organ player, and all of us grew up as toddlers, just learning how to sing in harmony. And so my grandmother invited Jason to this particular Christmas party that we were not dating at. And I showed up to my own grandmother's house, and I was like, what are you doing here? And he very arrogantly goes, your grandmother invited me. So I turned to my grandmother and I said, we're not dating. Why did you invite him? And she goes, I know, and shame on you. He's a piano player. So my grandmother got us back together. We started chatting again, but it was all because he was a musician. I had to have him.
That is so wonderful. I love it.
That's great.
That's so awesome. And yeah, how did you guys end up working with Kelly Clarkson? Can you share that story?
Yeah, I can. That's a hard one to sum up quickly, but I'll try. We left. We got married at 18 years old, and we went off to go find our way in the world, and we wanted to be a part of the music business. And I never dreamed that I would actually be able to make a living playing music. So I sold all my keyboards, and we moved to Nashville, and I was going to go to school for music business. So I went to go study marketing and publicity. And Rhonda was at one management company, and I was interning for Sparrow Records. And she was working for the management company that managed a band at the time, DC Talk. And she wrote my name on the audition list without even asking me about it. And then you're going to see a theme here. And then told me that I was going to audition for DC Talk. And I had grown up. I'd seen Michael W. Smith on tour, and they were opening up for him during that time, and I'm like, this isn't even a style of music that I know or play. And you're doing it, so I did it, and I ended up getting that. And we can fill in some of those blanks, but later on down the road, 10 years later, 12 years later, we were living in Los Angeles, and I had done a tour as music director for Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys. And on that tour, I'd met Randy Jackson, who was out with Destiny's Child at the time. And we exchanged numbers. And it was probably a year later, I was coming back from a show, and Randy Jackson called me. I was on the freeway, and he said a bunch of yo dogs, and told me that he was putting together, needed somebody to put together a band for the winner and runner-up of this TV show called American Idol. Well, I'd been on tour the whole year. I'd never heard of American Idol. And I, of course, I wanted to work with Randy, but I told him I just I was waiting to hear back on another job, and it just wasn't a good time for me, and I politely declined. And I called Rhonda on the way home and told her about this call from Randy. And she told me I needed to hang up immediately, call Randy back, and take the job because she had been watching American Idol with the kids all year, and they voted for Kelly, and that I would be stupid if I didn't take the job. So again, I did what Rhonda told me to, and I called Randy and got the job with Kelly Clarkson. And I've been with her for 20 years. She's been an absolutely amazing boss, friend, mentor, leader, and couldn't be more proud than to be a part of her team.
Wow, that's
Sure,
awesome.
amazing.
And Jason, you were 19, right, when you started with DC Talk? Is that right?
Yes, literally fresh out of high school. I think I survived or lasted 6 months of college before I went on the road. I consider DC Talk my college years. I learned
Wow.
Toby was and is Toby Mac from DC Talk is really good at finding people and pouring into them and helping them grow. So he took me on as a 19-year-old keyboard player who had never played on a stage in my life other than at my local
Wow.
church. And my first show was at the Detroit Palace in front of 20,000 people. And
No ways.
and Toby believed in me, and we can get into this. It's why I so resonate with the story of David. From my first job with DC Talk onwards, I've always felt the least qualified to be in the room. I feel like the little shepherd boy who was just out playing my instrument all the time, and next thing you know, I'm in the King's Palace, the Detroit Palace.
Sure.
So anyway, over those years, Toby allowed me to be part of even just sitting in on as albums were being made. I was with DC Talk for a little over 6 years, but ended up getting to play on some projects, and then learned a lot about production from Toby and the Go-To brothers, Todd Collins, and that led into so much more.
Sure, that's so amazing, and I love. That's not a bad first gig to to be with DC Talk, and I love when Jason and Rhonda came out to South Africa a couple of months ago, and Jason was telling us his story a little bit, and he was like, the way he puts it is he's a little bit like Forrest Gump, that just seems to always be like right place, right time, and suddenly finds himself in a station that he shouldn't be in, and just has gone from success to success. And it's one of those stories of how did I get here, which I think is just fantastic. It's so wonderful.
It is wonderful. I just wanted to ask you a question, sorry, which we haven't talked about before, but being on a stage at 19 years old in front of 20,000 people, like the butterflies in your tummy must have been like off the charts, right? Were you like shaking and super, super nervous? Or are you like,
what's funny
this
is
is what I'm made for?
Honestly, I was more shaking 5 minutes before this call because this is not my comfort zone. I'm way more nervous about this than actually was my first gig doing that. And I can say, again, the story of the reason I'm on this project isn't so impactful my whole life. And I just, the first time on stage with DC Talk, or playing for President Obama's inauguration, or Super Bowl, or the Grammys live, like you name it, I don't get nerves in those things because I've literally, all I'm doing is the same thing that I was doing when I was 8 years old, playing piano by myself in my house.
Wow.
Or when when it's just Kelly and I on a stage, I don't even see all those people. It's the training that I did for years, just accompanying somebody at a church and learning how to follow them and the timing. So in those events, no, I don't feel nervous because all I'm doing is what I've been doing in the small things my entire life. So it's my comfort zone and my stage. Seeing pictures of myself and talking about myself,
Yes.
that has not done my whole life, and I'm very uncomfortable with that. So
I remember when we were first chatting with you, the first time that we were chatting, Rhonda was also on the call, and Jason, it was very much like this, and talking very humbly, whatever, and then Rhonda's like, okay, now let me tell you all the stuff that he won't tell you about himself, because he doesn't like to blow his own trumpet or whatever. And then she started talking like, oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. It was fantastic.
Well, it's the Forrest Gump nature of it. I mean, there's a certain amount of, I feel like what I do it's not necessarily because of what I do, but it's because of who I'm doing it for. And so, for me to, to win a Grammy for producing a Kelly Clarkson vocal, it seems silly to me because it's her vocal. I just captured it. But I'm very proud of the places I've been in, and that's why I have Rhonda as my manager. She can say the things about me. And it took us, we've been married over 30 years, and we've just started working together officially in the past 2 to 3 years, and it's been fantastic because as you'll see the thread, even being a part of this project, it was a dear friend of mine, Denise George at Minnow, who is working with Sunrise on some short films, and at first I showed Rhonda this email that they were asking me if I wanted to meet with the producers of the David animated film, and I couldn't possibly fathom how, with my schedule, I mean, on the Kelly Clarkson TV show, we're doing 180 episodes a season, and everything I've going on, I couldn't fathom how I could possibly have time for this. And once again, Rhonda said, you need to take this meeting, because I've been watching, from watching The Chosen, she got on the email list of Angel Studios, all their live streams. So she'd been watching the David live streams, and she was like, you need to call these people. And so we did, and I'm so glad we did, because this has been a very
well done, Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda, so much. So Rhonda, then what made you excited about it, and what made you just kind of encourage Jason to take the call?
That little 5-minute video that started this live stream, that's what did it. I saw it the first time, and I actually wept. It just touched me so much. I wept through the end of it, and it's such a beautiful story in that little 5 minutes. And I thought, well, if that's just 5 minutes worth, what could they do with the whole movie? And so never really even thought this was an option. Didn't know you guys, didn't have any, connections or anything like that. And then we get this message from Denise George, and as soon as I saw it, I was, yes, like whatever, in whatever capacity, whatever, we don't care. The answer is yes, we want to do it. And Jason's looking at me like I'm crazy, because I don't think he had seen the video. And so I'm like, you got to watch this. You got to see what I'm talking about. It was just so moving and so tender. And I really am inspired in that little 5 minutes. I don't know how you can't be. And so if that's what you can do in 5, I cannot wait to see what you guys can do in a full-length film. It's just going to be incredible.
That's so awesome.
It's so wonderful to
Amazing.
hear. It's great.
Yeah, it really is. So I'd love to chat about the music philosophy, Jason, for David. I know we spent some time together in Cape Town, and Brent touched on it with the sound of film, what you're exploring and everyone you're chatting to. But can you just share your vision and philosophy around the music for the film?
Yeah, whenever we first came and met with you guys, I think I was so inspired by, we're coming in two or so years after you've already started this project, and so you've already spent so much time in research and authenticity of the look and with concept art, and when you first look at the video, you might be tempted from the demo to think, oh, this is just a kid's project, or oh, this is a young family movie. After seeing the concept art and hearing the vision for authenticity, it's so much more than this. It was an opportunity to be a part of telling a story in a way that had never been told before. And your team, is the animators, are trying to show that in a visual way, and I was excited about trying to tell this in a musical way that hasn't been heard before. We actually don't know historically. We have ideas of what the sound of David's time would have been like, and what instruments were there, but so much time has elapsed. There's not a lot of detail, so there's a little bit of imagination that comes into view. But we're getting to do a lot of, we're meeting with universities, with historians, with musicologists, with rabbis, with musicians, composers, just to sort of develop what we feel like this should sound like. And that's what I'm really excited about doing. So just like you said, in the demo it says, we're trying to imagine the Prince of Egypt with the fun of Tangled. I would love to imagine the authenticity of what things might have sounded like with a bit of imagination and some modern sound to it. So that's what we're looking forward to exploring.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. It's really exciting. And I know one of the things I wanted to touch on too is your role. So executive music producer and music supervisor. Could you guys each kind of just talk a little bit about what those roles specifically entail?
Yeah, for me, I'm excited. So, executive music producer just means I get to touch all things and every aspect of music of this film, which is exciting for me because in my job, I've certainly not always been the best musician or the best songwriter or the best producer, but I have worked with the best songwriters and the best musicians and the best producers in the world. And what I get to do in this film, this is not me being creative. I'm not writing the music. I'm not composing. I'm not, but I'm getting to find the teams and put together. So we get to be a part of finding the right songwriters, lyricists for this musical. I've worked with some world-class composers, and we're going to be able to help find the right team to put the score together. And as a good friend of ours says, with every couple, there's a wow and a how. And I like to do the creative and dream and find the people. And Rhonda, as music supervisor, gets to make sure that it's all done in the right way, with the right contracts, with the right agreements, and the legal aspects. So, anything you want to add?
He basically stole my thunder, but yes, I handle all the technical stuff, the paperwork, the licenses, the contacts, the scheduling, the meetings. So I get to do all. That's fun for me. I've always been business minded. I love the music business aspect. That's why I perform in that, and Jason performs on stage.
I have to say, though, the music business is one of the most complicated things I have ever encountered in my 20-year career in film. It's just, I feel like the more I know, the less I understand. And I feel like with every license I read, I'm more confused and don't have more clarity. So I'm really, really thrilled to have you to walk alongside and be passionate and excited about it.
We've had to learn the hard way because we've made lots of mistakes along the way for ourselves. Because we've been on the other end of this, from writing songs for film and for albums, and so we've learned a lot along the way. And it just feels fun to come full circle. The first album I was actually ever on was the Prince of Egypt soundtrack, and I think I was probably 20 or 21. It was TC Talk did a song on it called My Deliverer, and it was the first thing I got to play on that was released. And so all these years later, to come full circle and be a part of telling another
that's amazing.
story.
I didn't even know that.
And now I'm piecing together, all the different aspects along the way I've had to learn, from licensing and production and composition, and it just feels really exciting to be able to put all those little pieces of the journey into this film.
That's
cool.
So awesome.
Reeds, can I ask something? Say something.
Yes, sure.
So firstly, I just want to shout out to everyone. We're seeing the pledges come in. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing the hellos from around the world. I saw Nigeria, I saw Mexico, I saw Germany, Canada. It's fantastic. I'm sure there's other countries as well. So just so wonderful to have so many people from around the world watching this. And just a reminder to go to angel.com/David. Something like that, there we go, to pledge or to show interest in the project. And Jason, I wanted to just ask a couple of things, because it so excited me, about the creative process. And I don't know if you're still thinking of doing this. When we were first chatting about The Sound of Film, you'd spoken about doing 3 writers' camps, and you're like thinking of doing one in LA that sort of targets the sort of pop, one in Nashville that targets. Are you still thinking of doing that? And if so,
absolutely. Tell
us about it, because that was really inspiring to me, and I thought it was such a fantastic idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's part of what I really appreciate about the way you guys run your company and the way Phil and Jackie Cunningham lead. It's been almost 20 years since we've been involved in a faith-based project, and a lot of times. When you see projects, it's us versus them. It's, stay away from Hollywood or the bad of Hollywood. And you guys are taking the best of, and the best of faith and the best of Hollywood, and bringing it together, which I love. And so that sort of inspired me when we were putting together music for this. The story of David is shared by 3 major religions: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. The story of David is shared by many cultures. And as you guys have said, it's been important to have authenticity and the story to also be told by the Hebrew community and people with Jewish background. And so that inspired me, and I thought, well, let's reach out. So we're going to set up a camp in LA and bring together some of the top writers and just see what stories they would like to tell through song. And then we're going to do the same thing in Nashville with some of the worship community and Christian songwriters. And then we're going to do the same thing in New York with maybe a little bit more of a musical and Broadway point of view, because we've been fortunate. Again, it's not because of me; it's because of my work with Kelly. But I've been able to work on projects like the Hamilton soundtrack and the Greatest Showman soundtrack, and I've been able to meet some incredible creative people, and I would just love to see what they can bring to the table. And I can't wait to present these to you guys and see what you think of it.
I still get
so
I
exciting.
literally got shivers again as you're saying that, because it just feels so right and it so resonates with me. And I just want to shout out there, someone donated $5,000 from Utah, so thank you so much. Well, they didn't, they pledged, but thank you for expressing that interest. And then just rounding out one more thing there is because so all of that is taking place in the States. But in terms of the authenticity, you're absolutely also digging into the ancient instruments and what have you, and maybe just share just quickly what you've got, Matt, our sound guy, what you guys are planning on doing, which I think is just so fun and exciting.
We're fresh in the process, and if anybody is watching over at UCLA, help us push this through. But UCLA in Los Angeles has one of the largest collections of ancient instruments, and we've been fortunate enough to meet with the school and their curators, and we're in the process of trying to get access to those instruments so that we can record the sounds and learn about them to inform the composers of the film. And on top of that, we have, being based in Los Angeles, we also have access to some of the most amazing instruments that have been used on film and in movies that aren't readily available. And we've also, thanks to Rita, we've been meeting with musicians in Israel and hoping to do a trip soon to gather recordings from those instruments. The authenticity is going to be amazing, just to be able to incorporate. And I've talked to some other friends that have been a part of making movies, like Moana, and where authenticity is really key. But sometimes authenticity can sound strange to our ears because we're not used to hearing it. So I'm excited about taking the authentic sounds of these instruments and morphing them in a way where they're being used, but that are also palatable with modern music.
Yeah,
that's
love
huge. I just wanted to get a little deep and personal quickly before we move on. They often say art imitates life, right? So
take some water.
Just wanted to see if you guys wouldn't mind sharing any of the Goliath-sized trials you've had in your life, and just kind of how you've overcome those, if you're happy to.
I don't like, you go first.
I mean, as with anybody, I mean, we've all shared our trials, and I think some of the biggest Goliaths in our life, the most obvious that pops to mind is our daughter was diagnosed with her first cancer at the age of 16, and then with a secondary cancer shortly thereafter, and going through 4 years of that felt like a complete Goliath to us. Sure. And it was through our faith and our community and through music that we made it through that journey. There's been career Goliaths. Actually, I won't say that because the cancer probably feels the most. Like nothing career-wise actually feels like a big Goliath to me, because we've just been big dreamers, and God just keeps placing us into situations. But is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think we're facing a Goliath right now in our own personal lives. About 1.5 years ago, we got flooded out of our house, and we can't live in it right now. And we've been in this process of trying to rebuild and trying to get a builder's loan and trying to connect with a builder. And here in Nashville, the housing market is just absolutely crazy. And it's caused supply and demand to be an issue. And so we are literally at a standstill 1.5 years later, still haven't broken ground. And so I feel like we're still facing our Goliath. But literally as of this morning, before starting this live stream, we were just talking and going, okay, either God's going to have to open a door and figure this out for us, or, you know, we're just going to have to walk away. But I don't think that we're called to walk away. So we're just waiting for the strategy that God will give us, and we'll figure it out as we step forward. And who knows how long it'll take, but I do know that we will conquer this giant one way or another.
And the good thing, there's one
That's
lesson
awesome.
to learn from David and Goliath, is that you don't conquer giants in your own strength. And so it's
Right.
just completely
Mm.
pointless. I mean, we have enough position where we could maneuver and finagle, and
Sure.
it's not a finances thing. It's just it's obstacles, and that can't be done by our own strength anyway. So there's sort of a
Mm.
freedom in that.
Yeah.
No, totally. I mean, and it's just
Finagle
like,
is-
you know, David.
Finagle is a spectacular word, by the way.
I was just going to say, like, with David putting on Saul's armor, you know, it's just like, and then the strategy God gave him being the sling, right? And 5 stones. And it's just like,
Yep.
you just really have to, you know, look to God and his strategy, as you said, you know, and
Yep.
be pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
So we're going to do something a little fun before we go to questions. We're going to do a trivia game. So we'll just do 2 questions for all the audience. So we'll pop the questions up on the screen. So this will just help the audience get to know you a little bit better, Jason. Which song did Jason Halbert write? A, Catch My Breath, Kelly Clarkson. B, Achy Breaky Heart, Billy Ray Cyrus. Or C, Home, Michael Bublé. So we'll just chat a bit and give people a few minutes to pop up answers on the screen. And I actually think we've got oh no, we won't play a clip yet. We'll play a clip when we know.
And for legal purposes, we'll
um,
say co-wrote. What should I co-write?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well said.
Or get a call from Eric Olson saying, wait.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have?
Oh,
Do
gee,
we
that
have
was
any-
quick there.
Yeah, thank you, Esther.
They changed it in the text. That's super fast.
Oh, brilliant! That is so amazing. Okay, so let's just.
Well, I
get
know
to
which song I
question
wish
6
I'd have written.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I think I know as well.
Oh, Cindy says home.
Okay, we've got one for home.
One.
Are we going to wait for
home.
answers, Reed? So we're going to start getting some questions from the audience as well in the meantime, or give it.
Yeah, let's give it a few more seconds and get maybe 1 or 2 more answers, and then we'll. But yeah, if anyone's got questions in the meantime, they can pop them up.
Cool. Everyone on the internet, please just chat amongst yourselves while we wait.
Yes. Oh, there you go.
Achy Breaky Heart, says Emma. Okay, so we've got 1 for Achy Breaky Heart and 1 for home.
Emma.
Cool.
All right.
Okay, we're going to reveal the answer. And drum roll.
Drum roll. That doesn't sound like you at
That
all.
was such a fun song to be a part of. That was for Kelly's greatest hits record, and it was so fun being a part of it. Like, it was a good song to sum up where she was at in her career at that moment, and couldn't be more proud to be a part of it.
That's
That's
amazing. So
awesome.
who is your co-writer, did you say?
Kelly Clarkson and Eric Olson. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Brilliant. Such an awesome song.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do one more. And then we'll head to questions. So which artist has Jason Halbert not worked with? So Reba McEntire is A, Lady Gaga is B, and Adele is C. So let's see. Is that question legally correct, Jason?
Yes, that's very legally correct. One of those artists I have not worked with.
Okay, good.
And while we're waiting for those answers to come in, thank you for that $50 pledge. We see those coming in. And again, just go to angel.com/David if you want to express interest in the project. And let's see how that all goes. And
Amazing. And you can also rewatch the demo at that link as well. Yeah. There it is. Angel.com/David.
you can get that
Sounds like
Kelly
a-
Clarkson
sounds like
song
an
on any
icebreaker at
streaming
small groups.
platform. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think. Ah, Megan Steele says Lady
Yeah,
Gaga.
there's it.
Yeah.
One. You can
Oh,
come
the
in.
anticipation.
Oh,
So
Cindy
Lady
says
Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Okay.
Ah, this is
They're
interesting.
like,
Adele.
Oh,
Okay.
and XOXO says Adele. Okay, should we? And Sherry
yeah.
says Adele.
Another
It's two for
Adele.
Adele, two
Yeah,
for Lady
let's
Gaga.
reveal.
I
Let's
guess
reveal.
Reba was too obvious.
Gaga. Daisy.
Yeah, I haven't been able to work
Da-da-da.
with Adele, but yeah,
So well done,
I
Cindy.
remember
XOXO.
I worked on Lady Gaga's very first tour. I think it was when Just Dance or Pop Rock, one of them came out.
Poker
Anyway,
Face.
yeah, and I think it was Poker Face because I worked on the first tour for that, and I remember our children were probably 8 and maybe 11 at the time. And they were always around studio, but I wasn't paying much attention. And we were in the car one day, and I think my daughter started singing Poker Face. And I turned around, I'm like, where have you heard that song? Because we haven't played it for you. And she's like, well, you were working on it, Dad. I'm like, okay. Yeah, again, I've had the privilege to be able to work on the peripheries of just so many amazing artists. And Reba McEntire, Queen of Country Music, I'm fortunate to work with her, among many others. But Adele I've not worked with.
Sure.
So
Incredible.
There's a strong likelihood it'll happen knowing your track record. So just hang in there.
Exactly. Totally. Cool, guys. I think we've got a few more minutes, so we'd love to do a Q&A if anybody's got any questions. We'll just kind of keep chatting, and if we see some questions coming up, we will answer them. Thanks, Tammy. When can we invest? All the information about timing and everything, Tammy's going to be at the link, so angel.com/David. Currently, we're just getting expressions of interest. Brent, you look like you're about to say something.
No, I was going to say, do we not know a rough time? So they don't have to look it up? Or are we not legally allowed to say?
No, I just mean like it'll stay, the information will stay current on that site. So as soon as it's open, it'll, which I think it's going to be in November, I believe. I don't want to talk out of turn though.
There we go.
So, yeah.
Don't hold us to it, but we think
next question.
then.
When is the movie going to come out? The movie's going to come out in 2025. So animation is just such a long cycle. But yes, 2025 is when it's going to come out.
But so this is true 2025, but the quite exciting thing is we are also creating another 5 David animated shorts with a streaming platform called Go Minnow. And so Minnow. And the exciting thing about that is those are presently in production. I mean, the feature is also in production, but those are coming out sometime next year. So you will get your David Phil, and those are fantastic. Those are so exciting, and it's just such a great further teaser for the movie. So yes, the movie only comes out then, but you'll get more David before then. So don't worry. Over.
So I think this one's for you, Jason and Rhonda. What was your favorite song you've worked on?
Good question.
It's really hard to pull, but the first one that comes to mind, just because of the conversation right now, is It's Quiet Uptown from Hamilton. I mean, it was just such an emotional song to work on. I was invited to reimagine it from the soundtrack, and Kelly was pregnant at the time. And there's so many little things that I got to put into it that probably no one ever noticed. But if you go listen to the Hamilton soundtrack, I put the sound of children playing in the streets underneath a piano bed, and like there's just little subtle things in there just to draw out the emotion. And I think it's the favorite thing I've ever worked on, and it's what we're talking about with Brent that I'm looking forward to actually incorporating to this film. Like how can we incorporate the sounds of wind in a musical way? How can we incorporate the sounds of stones, that David would have thrown? So I love doing stuff like that, and so I had a lot of freedom on It's Quiet Uptown, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, and that is a beautiful rendition of the song. Beautiful. It was. Yeah. If you haven't listened, dear internet, please go and have a listen.
Play that to me.
Yeah, so beautiful.
And then, how's the voice casting going? So we are searching. We're starting. We're still kind of a year off needing to have our final cast. but we have feelers out and we are talking to people and places, and so it's going. Very early days, but it's kind of slowly started. Jason, have you already started writing the music?
Yes, Jason. Yes, Jason. How's it going, Jason?
Yeah, weird. Yeah, again, I'm not writing, so I get to find the writers, and I'm really excited about, because then I don't have to have Brent look at me and tell me why it doesn't sound good. So we're literally in the process right now. We have our first writing team that we're connecting with this week, and hopefully Brent's going to brief them next week. So we've not started writing the actual music yet, but I know we're deep into the script because the script is going to inform the songs that are in the film. And I just don't know how much we can share, but I'm super, super, super excited about a couple of these songs that are. It's gonna be a great musical. We're gonna have good
you've already said too much.
Some good emotional tearjerkers, and we're gonna have all sorts of good things.
Yeah, that's great.
And will Jason be involved with the music for Young David too?
I got to participate.
That's a good question. I think.
I got to participate.
You definitely did.
Some of the songs.
Are you gonna actually
Yes.
produce or write, or do you?
So
want
the songs, the songs that were written. So in the shorts, I can just answer. So in the shorts, there are 2 songs, but this was before Jason came on board, and I'm actually really thrilled about this because another musician that we've been collaborating with is Jonas Myron, and so 2 of the songs that he has written are in the shorts, but Jason helped us to sort of prep the singer for those, and he was in the recording for us, and it was fantastic for me to watch Jason at work because he managed to just lift the performance of the actor to another level, and I'm so thrilled with what we've got out of that. He's also involved with the local team, which is called Pressure Cooker, who are going to be doing the score just for the shorts, but when Jason was out, we took him to meet them as well. So he is involved. It's kind of a little bit of a lighter touch, I'd say, with the shorts, but it's a great sort of just getting your feet wet, seeing what's going on, having a little bit of flavor sprinkling in and out of those. Yeah. So yes, but sort of diving headfirst more into the feature film.
Well said.
Thanks, Ruby, for your question. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Awesome. I think we maybe have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Will the film short be used to introduce David the movie? Will that short be included in the final movie? Brent, that's for you.
So I can answer that. The quick and easy answer is no. The longer answer is when we made that short, we were kind of prepping for the fact that we could receive funding at any day. So we decided so that was the opening of the script at that time, that scene. So we started doing it as the first scene of the movie. But as we created it, we realized if we do it just as the first scene, it wouldn't tell a story within itself because the first scene of the movie had other characters in, receding things for the movie. So we sort of let go of that idea, and we wrote it sort of to be a closed little short itself. And since then, at that time, we still thought that it could have potentially been the beginning to the movie. But since then, we've done so much story development and have realized what we need to see at the beginning of the movie. So no, it's no longer the beginning of the movie. But I'm so glad we got to create that scene, and it exists. So it's out there. But the nice thing is, when you watch the movie, you're going to be watching 100% new content. Yeah.
Last question. Where were Jason and Rhonda born?
Hey!
Is that your dad?
That's so cool.
That's kind of a funny story. Jason's actually born in Texas, so my Texas family, it's you are Texan. Well, I wasn't born in Texas. My dad was in the Navy, and I was actually born at a Navy hospital in San Diego, where Top Gun was shot. Great movie, by the way.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
When I was born, my grandfather sent a box of Texas dirt and told my parents that my feet needed to touch Texas soil first. So I should say I'm from Texas because that's where I was raised. And all the Texas family there are still there. And we met in Texas. Texas is our history. But no, I'm a Californian.
That is amazing.
Fantastic.
I love that.
Great question.
That's an awesome story. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. It has been absolutely wonderful having you guys on here. Thanks everybody who tuned in. Remember to express interest at angel.com/David. And Jason and Rhonda, you guys are incredible. We are so honored to be walking this journey with you guys. Thank you very much.
Totally.
And
Yeah,
thanks everybody for watching. And thanks Anonymous for $500.
Yeah.
Cool,
And
guys.
Jason, Rhonda, we'll
I can't
see
wait for you
on
guys
the call
to see
next
some
week.
up and coming. Yep. Yeah, the next few live streams are going to be great, and I don't know when they're going to announce what they are, but there'll be some much more eloquent people really diving into some of the musical aspects of this that we're fortunate to work with. So can't wait to watch those.
Amazing.
Yeah, you're absolutely
Yeah,
right. I'm really excited for those. There's some cool stuff coming.
Very, very cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
You guys
Thank
are
you,
awesome.
guys.
Thanks everybody.
Okay, thanks so much. Eh?
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Look into my eyes. Do you see fear? You come at me with sword and spear, but I come in the name of the God of Israel. Yes! Right between the eyes! Did you see that? Anyone? Of course not. Okay then, one more time. Tally, not now! I'm trying to protect us from this Philistine. Whoa, no, not that way. Come on. Back to your mom. Right, Philistine. Oh, wait. Right between the eyes. Oh, of course. That one you saw. Tally! Tally, no! I'm coming, girl! Whoa, easy! Shira! I will bring her home safely. Whoa! Hey, whoa, Sally, wait, no! There you go. I'm almost there. Oh, that doesn't help. That does. Stop. Thank you. 예나 할래니 nafshi yeshove yancheni b'magalet tzedek leman shem